Hey, welcome back to Ping Pong Flicks. My name is Chris Wong. It has been a crazy Halloween day for the DC fandom. It's been nuts. There's a lot of things that happened today that I can't believe. It just flooded Twitter, flooded the fandom. There's got some negatives, there's some positives, but in all it's just a whirlwind of events today. I want to just start off with some positive. This is just very recent. Fiona has translated some of the Chinese mainstream reviews about Justice League. Now this is that 30-minute footage that they showed. So they finally released their thoughts about Justice League, that 30 minutes that was screened. What were the 30 minutes? I don't know. I can only guess. There's a lot of action scenes going on. But here's some movie time. The first half the footage we drown in sad memories of Superman. Another half all totally brilliant action scenes like all DC films. Towel tickets. Not only Batman and Wonder Woman were as brilliant as previous movies. The Flash, Aquaman, Cyborg, all brilliant as well. 10-cent entertainment, epic, magnificent, AIQI1. I don't know what that's an interesting acronym. The fun part in the footage was brilliant. All characters have their own moments. Fighting scenes flawless. Epic fighting scenes were just as brilliant. Ancient time wars rocks. All League members have their own charming and different but brilliant superpowers. The fighting Steppenwolf was visually stunning. So many layers in the film's VFX. Love those scenes. Big breakthrough for DCEU. Film worth waiting for years in production. Long time expectation. Wonder Woman still shines in the Justice League. Flash is the hottest geek we've ever seen. Ezra Miller will be the next DC. Epic and so hyped. Score was brilliant. Brought some fun moments, lots and on, and she's going to continue to put some more, this time from the Chinese bloggers and movie sites, unless this were the Chinese bloggers, I'm not sure. But go ahead and go on Twitter, go to her, I don't know if she pinned these tweets, but there's more in Chinese if you can read them. And lots of details about what happened in those 30 minutes footage. Well, maybe vaguely you can kind of piece together maybe the moments they're put in there, but that's the positive thing that happened today. I am very excited to see that by the time today, I think today, if you're watching this November 1st, there is the press junket at London, I believe. It's November 1st, right? Yeah, so there's going to be a press junket, there's going to be a press screening. We're going to watch the entire film. And so if everything does well tomorrow or today, if you're watching this on November 1st, and everything goes well, they're seeing that the reviewers like it, embargo could lift much sooner than expected. Maybe. It might not happen in any call, because maybe there's some things in this movie that they want to keep absolutely super duper secret, and that's fine. I'm okay with that. I want to go in with as much expectations and hype, my own feelings in the matter. I don't want to be reading spoilers here and there. People could leak things out. And so that could absolutely happen, so I don't want that to happen. But we're going to be on the lookout tomorrow. We'll see what happens. I'm going to be refreshing my tweets to see if once everybody sees it. I don't know the time exactly in London, but that's going to come out, so that's great. That's perfect. Today, however, had some really, I don't know, it's very hard. I'm going to just read this to you, and you give your own thoughts before I give my own as I'm reading this. But Henry Cavill had a interview, and it kind of tells what's his thoughts on the DC Extended Universe so far. He's speaking candidly about this, so you may have heard this already. If not, I'm gonna say his exact quote here. He says, "Even if Marvel didn't exist, we'd struggle," meaning DC. "There was a style the DC were going for, an attempt to be different and look at things from a slightly different perspective, which hasn't necessarily worked. Yes, it has made money, but it has not been a critical success. It hasn't given everyone that sensation which superheroes should give the viewer. I think it is a wonderful time for the female hero. It is the perfect setting in social politics right now. We need it. We want that perspective, and Wonder Woman has struck at the ideal time and has become a phenomenal success, which is fantastic. Any success within the superhero universe, especially within the DC universe, is wonderful because I want to keep telling the Superman story. Selfishly, that works for me. I feel like now the right mistakes have been made and they haven't been pandered to, and we can start telling stories in the way they need to be told. It is even better to come back from a mistake or stylistic error into the correct vein because it all make it seem that much stronger. Wonder Woman was the first step in the right direction. So a lot of people got triggered on this, and I even scratched my head on it because he has words in there like mistake, it should have done, and for people who are huge fans of, like myself, Zack Snyder's Man of Steel, Zack Snyder's Batman v Superman, we're there. A lot of people are just leaning to this and just yelling, you know. And I've seen a lot of fandom. We're going very negative onto him about, you know, you were the chosen one, you know. And I tweeted that out. I didn't mean it for myself, but it just seems like that's what's happening in the fandom world. So, and it's rightfully so. I mean, he has every right to say what his thoughts are. He has every right. Everybody has every right to say your own thoughts. There is no right or wrong in this universe. There is no right answer. It's your own opinion, and you're free to make this. It's just like how I'm free to make one of my opinions right now, whether you think it's right or whether you think it's wrong, and I accept anything that comes at me. If you think I'm wrong, then great. If you think I'm right, then great. So I'm just saying he has every right to say what he has to say. If this is opinion, and there's some facts in there. Yes, you are right, Henry. This has been critically panned. It has been critically panned, and if you're gonna say that Warner Brothers' multi-billion-dollar company is not gonna look at critics, then you know you're not looking at the big picture here. You're closed-minded. You have to open your mind about these companies. As a businessman myself, we are looking at everything. If the critic pans it and the general audience are looking at those critics, they're reading those reviews before they even watch the movie, you're gonna want to change the critic's mind. You want to change you want to be with the fans itself. Yes, you want to give your product to the fans too, but you also want to be critically successful. Now, Wonder Woman, however, if you liked it or not, it has done what Warner Brothers wanted to do. It gave some to the fans, it gave some to the critics, it gave some to the general audience. In a whole, it makes that pie shape really nice and whole. It's critically. General fans like it. The hardcore DC fans probably also like it. Maybe they don't like it as much as maybe Man of Steel or Batman v Superman, but they're accepting it. It's not totally bad. And I get why his words hurt you guys. I get it. I understand. You know, I myself are a huge fan of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman. I've made this channel to defend such movies, okay, and a lot of you defending it. You feel like you're backstabbed. I totally understand why you are the way you are, why you feel the way you feel. And yes, him and even Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot has came out that saying that having Wonder Woman turn her back against mankind was a mistake. Okay, they have these things. It's very rocky in the beginning of a universe. It's been rocky for Marvel as well in the beginning. It has been rocky, and yes, maybe Zack Snyder, his views upon this may have been the movies Man of Steel and Batman v Superman may have worked for you. It has worked for me, but the studio has to look at it from the outside and say it hasn't worked for everybody. And every studio wants it to make it work for everybody. Now you can go ahead and say, look at Transformers, Michael Bay, and it doesn't work critically, but they're still making the same stuff. Well, Difference here is that it made $1 billion, and it continues to make $1 billion. The last one did not make $1 billion, and so they're reworking it. They're looking at the money. It made a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. Over 700 million. That's a lot of money. I wish I had 1 million. Okay, so if 700 million, and they looked at that and says, we gotta change something. We gotta change it. We're gonna make a Bumblebee movie instead. They're gonna change the story. They're gonna do all kinds of things. They're gonna hire the Kubo and the 2 Strings guy to come in and make that film. Then they're great, because that's what the studio wants. They want something that works. They want that whole pie chart. They want the general audience. They want the critics. They want the fandom. They want the other fandom. They want everybody to come in here 100% or even 90% saying, this is what we want. This is what works. This is what's going to make Warner Brothers money. Okay, and yes, Henry Cavill, who has played Man of Steel, the Superman himself in those 2 movies, yes, he has every right to say that maybe it hasn't worked the way we want it to work. But this is a business. This is a business like every other business. They're going to try and make everybody love their product. A restaurant. I'm in the restaurant business. So if a restaurant opens its restaurant, they got all the equipment and everything, but the recipes suck. The chef, there's maybe like a handful of people who really like his food, but the most 80% of the people out there don't like his food. They start putting reviews on Yelp, and they're saying, you know, this is what is wrong. So the recipe is here. That cook is great for these products, but not for these products, and things like that. You know, the restaurant manager is going to change it. Chef Ramsay is going to come in and say, you got to get this chef out, or you got to teach this chef how to make better food. Okay, it's the same thing. I am not saying that Zack Snyder is a bad director. He is a phenomenal director. The way his movies are, I love his movies. Most of my top movies are Zack Snyder films. I accept that. But I also accept that, and we should all accept, and if you don't, that's fine, but I accept that Warner Brothers is a studio that wants to make their product work. And if they can find a way to reel in everybody's on their side, the general audience, the critics, the other fandom that is not part of the Zack Snyder fandom, then they're going to work for it. And I accept that they're going to do it. It may not jive with how my thoughts are, but what matter am I? I'm still gonna go buy a ticket. I'm still gonna watch it, and I'm gonna still see if maybe there's another way that it'll work that'll make me happy. It'll make the critics happy. It'll make the general audience happy. It'll make the other fandom happy. I'm fine with that. Okay, and that's my 5 cents upon that matter. So I am shocked, but I understand what Henry Cavill is trying to say, and I understand what Warner Brothers is trying to do. And part of that plan actually comes from the musical score itself. Now this, Danny Elfman has come out. He has been on an interview, and he has said that his Batman theme is the only theme. Now that could also be a negative thing towards people who love the Hans Zimmer Dark Knight, even the Dark Knight theme, or the Batman v Superman theme, which I love. I recognize the Dark Knight series, the Christopher Nolan Batman, as an actual Batman theme. Okay, I recognize that. But for him, he wants to put his theme in, and when in that interview, he kind of sounded like he was a little bit hurt. Sounded like he was a little bit taken aback by the interviewer who thinks that there is more than one Batman theme, and that's his own. This is his way back into the DC universe, and I think if he makes this right, and if the score pans out, and when we're watching the movie with context, that soundtrack with context, and it works out, then great, he's back. He's back. He's happy. He's got his Batman theme back. We're not sure what he's going to use for the Superman theme. Some people are saying that he might not use the Hans Zimmer at all. I, for one, love the Man of Steel Hans Zimmer theme, Ideals of Hope. I hope he puts that in there, but it's getting less and less hopeful by the day as we start to learn more about what Danny Elfman is trying to accomplish. He's going to put the Wonder Woman in there for sure. Yes, the trailer had Man of Steel in there, but just listening to Friends and Foe, yes, he's put a little bit of Superman, John Williams Superman in there. I still believe that he may throw a little bit more through the other soundtracks, but we won't know for sure. We gotta have to watch it and watch it with context, with the soundtrack going, with the score, with the story going, and then we'll see for ourselves if it works or not. And a lot of people are going to be complaining about trying to drive that nostalgia factor in it. And I understand. I totally understand your frustration with that, because I do love the Hans Zimmer score. I do love the Junkie XL, and I do know that going into Justice League, the soundtrack just doesn't feel the same, because it's a totally different type of tempo. It's a totally different type of music. There's more orchestrated elements, symphonic elements to it. I understand that, and a lot of more fanfare that's added to it, so it feels very different from what we had before. But it does add to the lighter tone that Zack Snyder had originally, and Zack Snyder and Chris Terrio had originally thought of. So we would have to understand that the music itself probably has to be a lighter tone in itself, more fanfare, more cheery, and adding that nostalgia factor. Yes, I don't know if it's going to be throughout the whole movie. I'm hoping it's just snippets of it, because it does get confusing for me as a fan who hears the Batman, and my mind would ultimately go to the Keaton or the animated series. Or if you hear John Williams Superman, it might go to the John Williams. It would go to the Richard Donner Superman. So it does have that balance issues within my own brain. Does not necessarily, if it works for you, fantastic. For me, it gets a little confusing, but after listening a little bit more, I tend to just mix it in. I just bring it in. But that's their efforts to bring the nostalgia factor. Nostalgia factor is for the other fandom. It's for like the fans. They're my friends who love the Richard Donner, who love the Tim Burton Batman, and they want that song back. They want it back because for them that works, and nothing else has worked since then. Yes, I know they cannot get out of that. I understand, but if Danny Elfman's able to put that back in, then it will just unite all fandom, unite the critics, unite the general audience. It will work out for all of us. I promise you. If this movie is fantastic, if this movie is good, that whole pie chart is good, it will work and benefit for all of us. We won't really have to fight anymore. At least maybe 90% of us will be happy. We'll be happy. Look how less of a fight we're having with Wonder Woman, right? When Wonder Woman came out, 90% plus on Rotten Tomatoes. People love it. People were talking about the social media bloggers are talking, praising it and everything. We didn't fight so much. Didn't that feel good? For once, didn't that feel good? And I can't wait to feel good again when Justice League comes out. So I am ready to hear the positivity that's coming out of Justice League tomorrow, or if you're watching this today on November 1st, and hopefully that means embargo lifts and we're gonna learn that Justice League is a gem and not a dud for everyone. All right. Well, what do you think about these Henry Cavill comments, or Danny Elfman's interview, or the Chinese mainstream's review of the 30-minute footage? And are you really anticipating this right now? I mean, we're like 4 weeks, 2 weeks out. We're 3 weeks out, I think. Yeah, 3 weeks out, because Thor Ragnarok comes out this week. Yeah, less than 3 weeks. So we're almost there. I can smell the roses. It's November, guys. It's Justice League month. Let's do this. Alright, thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.